Another game and franchise that I would love to see a continuation of is The Darkness. If you guys ever played The Darkness, this was such a unique game, and actually a couple of games that came out that really had some very interesting concepts and really had some very dark themes, but had a very interesting story nonetheless. The Darkness, guys, of course, was released by developed by Starbreeze Studios, and then of course was published by 2K Games. And this was a game that was released back in 2007, and actually did pretty good as far as, when we talk about the, overall, like what people thought of the game. A lot of people thought it was very unique for what it was, and a lot of people really did enjoy it. People thought that it was very dark, that you were, kind of eating people's hearts, and, it was a very, dark kind of game, but it's called The Darkness, and I thought that it was a really interesting concept, and it should have been able to really coexist within the rest of gaming. And then you had The Darkness 2, guys, that of course was released in 2012. This one was developed by Digital Extremes, and then it was published by 2K Games once again. And from this point, guys, from 2012 to now, we haven't heard anything about a potential sequel, at least a conclusion to this franchise. We got two games, and they were two solid games in my opinion, but then we never got a third game. So where at this point is Darkness 3? I think, guys, if you kind of break this down, I think that it was kind of a niche sort of game just because the darkness and it was like had those dark themes and things of that nature. And I think that, 2K was probably thinking to themselves that there's a ton of other IPs that they would want to rather, kind of spend their time on and their resources on instead of the Darkness series. Also, Digital Extremes, guys, who were the developers of The Darkness 2, they were the ones who ended up, doing Warframe, which is like the free-to-play multiplayer game. They're actually developers of Warframe, and they also did, of course, BioShock and BioShock 2 and Homefront, all of their multiplayer games. And that was something that was very interesting as well. They are a company that looks like they are primarily focused on really working on Warframe at this point. So it doesn't seem like there's anything else that's really cooking up that they're thinking about bringing back some of these things, that being like Unreal Tournament. You look at the BioShock, the first couple of BioShock games, and then, of course, Homefront, and then, you had Warframe and Star Trek. So when I look at this, and it's like, okay, they're the guys who were developing it. They're probably not going to be working on a Darkness 3 at any point in the future. I don't think that they're going to be coming back to it. That's just my personal opinion. I think they would have been working on it a lot sooner if that was something there was potential there. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to 2K Games. If they want to make this, bring this back to like the next generation of consoles, if they want to make this something that, people can play, that enjoyed The Darkness, I would like to just see The Darkness 3 because it would kind of conclude the trilogy at least. And you could, I think there's something special there because this franchise, even though you got two games and they were unique for what they were. Sure, they were dark, but just they were something that where they took a lot of risks with it as far as the developers and the publishers with this franchise. But it really did have a very interesting story to it and some dark elements, but some light elements as well. I thought it was a really great couple of games that really, I believe, should coexist within gaming as a whole. So Digital Extremes, guys, I don't think that there's any chance that they're the ones that are going to be making it. And at this point, I think The Darkness 3 is just kind of put on the back burner for 2K Games. They're just thinking to themselves, they have so many other IPs that are going to make them a lot of money over time. And The Darkness might not necessarily be one of those games. I would love to see them sell The Darkness IP to a developer that really is excited about a game like The Darkness and maybe do it as a soft reboot or make a Darkness 3. I would really like to see something like that. I would love to, see, just a developer that's trying to really get their name out there. With a franchise like The Darkness, they could very well, might be able to do that, especially if they add some new elements to it, continue onwards with having a full package, right? Co-op modes, multiplayer modes, and a really exciting story, but edgy story. I think it could really go somewhere. And The Darkness, guys, it's a game that I would certainly play. I really enjoyed the first two. I thought they were a lot of fun. And sure, you don't really come back to it, over and over again. You play it maybe a couple of times through. But if they added more more things to do, of course, within the game, like that being like co-op modes, and I know that The Darkness 2 did have some multiplayer elements to it, but if they added more of a fleshed out multiplayer as well as, like some co-op modes, I think that they could really have something there in The Darkness. I mean, sure, it's going to be niche, right? But at the same time, it could be something that really a community that enjoyed The Darkness for what it was. You could really start seeing something, it could be something special for at least that community. And I would love to hear from you guys, though. What do you guys think about The Darkness? Would you want to see a continuation of the franchise? You hear what I'm saying? I'm saying, please, I would love to see a continuation of The Darkness, kind of like I'd like to see a continuation of Dead Space and games that have those like horror elements to them. I think there's something really special about those games that are very unique. And so that's where I think, where I stand with The Darkness. And where is The Darkness 3? I think right now, guys, it's just on the back burner for 2K. They're just not really even thinking about The Darkness at this point. I'd like to see them sell the IP or at least utilize it in one way or another. Why not? It's still, it was still a strong brand when they were bringing these games out. That's what I'm thinking. But at the same time, guys, I would love to hear from all of you. What do you guys think about The Darkness? Would you want to see The Darkness 3? And for any future updates as well as videos and content based around The Darkness 3, stick with us right here on Zero TV.